Number 4. Unnamed sources from video game site CVG indicate that the DualShock controller will be retired and won't be released with the new PlayStation. It remains to be true if this rumor, it remains to be seen rather if this rumor is true. However, Sony is rumored to be looking into touch controls a la Wii U for the new console as a replacement to the trusty DualShock. Don't get rid of it.
No, not at all. Do not. And here's my whole thing about this. I have a bet with Jim Riley. So obviously, Edar's Jim Riley. I'm sure everybody knows who he is. I have a bet with Jim Riley for a steak dinner that I think that the PlayStation 4 controller that ships is going to look a lot like the DualShock. I'm not saying there won't be any changes, there won't be any improvements, but it's going to look like the DualShock. I'm not a fan of this crazy biometrics thing. I don't want a touch screen on it. And then the question becomes then, Sam writes in at Beyond at IGN.com. We can just jump from that. Sam says, with rumors of the DualShock being retired for the PlayStation 4, what do you think the chances of seeing the boomerang controller coming back are? This is the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if when they announce Orbis PlayStation 4, they have some jackass controller out here that looks like a boomerang or whatever the hell it is. But by the time we ship PlayStation 4, we're back to a regular looking DualShock.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the kids that weren't born in 2006 that are listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Sony tried this and we wouldn't have it. So, the boomerang controller exists. People have seen it.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
But they went back to DualShock because that's what's up.
And of course, they tried to go just 6-axis, no rumble. And
those controllers were so comically light.
Exactly. And while they went back and forth for lawsuits, whatever, they tried to say that rumble was last generation. We all pissed and moaned about that. We got that back. So there you go. Piss and moan on the internet. Don't buy the system. There you go.
I remember playing Heavenly Sword when that game came out. And I was using a 6-axis controller, and I got really mad at the game because I get really mad at games, as you know.
Yeah.
I slammed the controller on my desk and broke it.
Wow.
Like, they didn't shatter, but it just it was like,
apart.
It was
just crumpled like cardboard.
It didn't really work properly after that because the controller, it was so light. It was so comically light. It was like you were barely holding anything. I'm like, no, you gotta have some weight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you guys remember when we ordered DualShocks from Japan when they were first coming out?
Yeah.
And Hillary took the box. He's like, "Hey, can I see that?" He took the box and just chucked it in my box with my controller, and it chucked it across the office. That never worked quite right either.
I think in '95, Apple came out with a console too, the Pippin, and that had a boomerang controller. We had it in the office.
The Pippin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like the Hobbit?
Exactly. Sure. That's what it was named after.
Yeah. And that was actually pretty comfortable.
I didn't actually know that.
Before we jump PS4 controllers, Navid from Waterloo writes in.
Waterloo? We've had a conversation on this podcast about
this,
Waterloo.
Of course, is where Napoleon surrendered to the Nazis.
Right.
Waterloo, we all know. Mm-hmm. Beyond, what changes would you like to be seen? What changes would you like to be seen made in the PlayStation 4 controller, considering the new rumor? So what would you... Let's say they're redesigning it in some way. I don't think the PlayStation 4 Orbis controller is going to be DualShock copied over, but I think it's going to look a lot alike. My main thing I want in it is better triggers, R2 and L2. I don't like that they go down and in now. They slope down. In the old days, my fingers would slide off them. I just want them to go back. Just go back.
Old days.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back into the left.
I'm fine with the L1 R1.
I'm pulling my fingers back.
Right, but I'm saying you want the trigger to actually curve forward.
Oh, sure, that's fine too. I don't mind if it's just flat like a DualShock 2.
I don't want it to change at all. But I think that the one thing they're going to change is, if it were to come out, is so everyone shuts up about it, is put the right analog stick up, make them uneven. Or whatever. I feel like that's going to be the one thing that they'll
concave sticks too. People bitch about.
Left?
It's the left stick. Because everyone, I think the DualShock is comfortable. We're just used to it. I think it's just what you're used to. But I think that everyone's like, it's not good for shooters, and so I'm like, okay, if you say so. But I think that's something that'll change because I think people prefer the Xbox controller in that sense. The Xbox controller is nice, but I think a little too big for my taste.
Quite ergonomic, I would say.
It is a bit fatty. I don't not like it. I like it fine.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit fat. I like the slimmer.
It's a far cry from that original Xbox controller.
Oh my god! Yeah,
those were made for Shack hands.
Yeah,
those were the days.
I don't think they'll move the stick. If they're doing that, then it's a complete redesign of the DualShock, whatever. It'll look more like the 360. It'll just be a generic-looking controller. And I think Sony is so stubborn that they won't move the sticks around because everybody will look at it and say, "Oh, look at that, it's Xbox."
Yeah.
I think you'll get if you're one of these people who want the concave sticks, not the convex tops, the roundy tops.
Tops.
You'd be happy. That's what I say.
I don't like those roundy tops.
No,
I like
those.
Yeah.
Concave or convex? Concave,
because you're going out like a cave.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know
the cave.
Because caves
like
are
Double Fine's
potholes.
the cave.
Out today on PlayStation Network. 7/9.
I forgot to get all that stuff
for the Xbox version.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.